Close your eyes. It's early March, 2026. Picture the Situation Room in Washington, D.C. The air is thick with tension.
Understood.
A high-ranking official picks up a secure line, expecting a standard "yes, sir" from an old European ally. But instead, the voice on the other end, coming straight from Madrid, says something that hasn't been heard in decades. No. No, you cannot use our runways. No, you cannot refuel your tankers here. And no, the Rota naval base is officially closed for your strike on Iran. In one single dry phone click, the geopolitical map of the Mediterranean just shattered. Spain, the country we've long associated with sunny beaches and afternoon naps, just handed the United States military its most public divorce papers in modern history. This isn't just a policy disagreement. This is a full-blown crisis of sovereignty. For over 70 years, the Rota and Morón bases have been the unsinkable aircraft carriers of the US in Europe. They are the gateway to the Middle East and Africa. We took them for granted. We thought they were ours. But in 2026, Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez stood before the Spanish Parliament and declared that Spain would no longer be a parking lot for foreign wars. He invoked the spirit of no a la guerra, no to war. To the Spanish people, this was a moment of supreme national dignity. They're tired of being the silent partner. They watched as 15 of our KC-135 tankers were forced to pack up and scramble toward Germany. They watched as we realized that, for the first time, our friendship had a boundary. And that boundary is the Spanish border. But here is the slap for us back home. In Washington, this wasn't seen as dignity. It was seen as a betrayal. The White House immediately fired back with threats of massive economic consequences, talk of trade sanctions on Spanish olive oil, wine, and automobiles is already swirling through the halls of Congress. There's a heated debate at NATO headquarters. Is Spain still a reliable ally, or have they become a liability? Critics are calling it political suicide. They're asking, how can a country with a 10% unemployment rate and a massive debt load afford to spit in the face of the world's largest economy? Are they so blinded by their own pride that they're willing to tank their GDP just to prove a point to the Pentagon? We call them allies, but they just shut their doors on us when we needed them most. Why would a nation, once mocked for its slow pace of life and its siestas, suddenly decide to gamble its entire future on a fight with a superpower? Is it madness? Or is it that Spain knows something about the future of the world that we haven't figured out yet? Stay tuned, because the Spain you think you know is officially dead. And what's rising in its place is far more complex and far more dangerous than a simple vacation destination. If you're watching this from the US, your dinner was probably over 3 hours ago. You've counted your steps, checked your sleep ring, and maybe worried about that second cup of coffee. We are a nation obsessed with biohacking our way to an extra year of life. But over in Spain, it's 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, and the streets are just waking up. Families are sitting down for a 3-course meal. There's wine on the table, cigarettes in the hands of the elderly, and not a single green juice in sight. Here is the first slap to our American logic. Spain is on track to overtake Japan as the country with the longest life expectancy on Earth by 2040. They aren't just outliving us, they are out-partying us while they do it. Scientists call it the Mediterranean Paradox, but it's more than just olive oil. It's the refusal to let hustle culture kill the soul. In Spain, social connection isn't a hobby, It's a survival strategy. And it turns out, laughing with friends at midnight is better for your heart than a 5 a.m. solo run in the rain. And it's not just about living long, it's about what they do for each other when life ends. Listen to this. Spain has been the world leader in organ donation for over 30 consecutive years. They aren't just good at it, they are light years ahead of us. In the States, you have to opt in at the DMV. In Spain, they have presumed consent. Unless you explicitly say no, you are a hero by default. This creates a culture where the gift of life is a national pride. While we argue over healthcare costs, a Spanish citizen can get a life-saving transplant with almost zero out-of-pocket expense. It's a level of communal trust that feels almost alien to our every man for himself mentality. You start to think, maybe they've figured out a more enlightened way to exist. But wait, before you sell your house in suburbs and book a one-way ticket to Madrid, I need to tell you about the Spanish nightmare. Because in this enlightened utopia, there is a legal glitch that will make every American homeowner's blood boil. It's called Okupas, squatters.
I don't believe this.
Imagine this.
My home.
You go on a 10-day vacation to Florida. When you get back to your house in Spain, you find the locks have been changed. You hear a TV playing inside. A stranger opens your door and tells you to get
I have every
lost.
right to be here.
You call the
Sir, please
police,
remain calm.
expecting a
That's my
SWAT
home.
team. But the
Understood,
police
just wait.
arrive, shrug their shoulders, and tell you, since they've been here for more than 48 hours, we can't touch them. See you in court. In Spain, once a squatter passes that 48-hour window, they are legally protected. Evicting them can take 2 years. 2 years where you are still required by law to pay the electricity and water bills for the people who stole your home.
Completely wrong.
If you try to cut the power, you go to jail for coercion.
What do we do now?
If you try to break in, you're the one arrested for breaking and entering.
I don't believe
To an
this.
American,
My house.
this
Right
is
now.
insanity. We have the castle doctrine. In many of our states, if a stranger enters your home, you have the right to defend it with force. Our property rights are sacred. They are the bedrock of our life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. But in Spain, the right to housing often trumps the right to ownership. It's a legal twilight zone where your long life might be spent in a legal battle for the very roof over your head. This is the Immortal Paradox, a country that will give you a stranger's heart to save your life, but won't let you kick a stranger out of your living room. You can live forever in Spain, but you might have to do it in a tent in your own backyard. If you think the legal system is wild, wait until you see what they've done to the very ground they stand on. Because while their houses are being stolen by squatters, their land is being stolen by the Sahara. Let's talk about something that makes every American traveler cry: infrastructure. If you've ever sat on an Amtrak train outside of DC, delayed for 3 hours because of signal issues, or driven over a pothole in Chicago that nearly swallowed your SUV, listen closely. Spain has the longest high-speed rail network in Europe. It is the second longest in the entire world, trailing only China. It's called the AVE. Imagine boarding a train in Madrid and arriving in Barcelona, 300 miles away, in just over 2.5 hours. No TSA lines, no cramped middle seats, and, this is the part that hurts, the train is actually on time. If it's more than 15 minutes late, they often give you your money back. In the US, we've spent decades and billions just trying to connect LA to San Francisco. In Spain, they just did it. They built a sci-fi reality while we were still arguing about budget committees. And it's not just trains. Look at the ocean. Our Navy is the pride of the Pentagon, right? Well, guess who is building the next generation of smart ships for the world's most advanced navies? A Spanish company called Navantia. They've developed what they call digital twins, virtual clones of a warship that live in a computer. Every bolt, every engine vibration is monitored in real time. The ship tells the crew it's going to break down before it even happens. They are building these for Australia, for Norway, and even collaborating on designs for our own allies. While we think of Spain as a place for sangria, they are quietly becoming the engineering architects of the 21st century sea. But here is the catch, and it's a big one. When you sit on that ultra-modern AVE train, traveling at 190 miles per hour, I want you to look out the window. Beyond the shimmering glass, you'll see miles and miles of nothing. This is España vaciada, the empty Spain. We have Rust Belt towns in Ohio and West Virginia, but Spain has entire provinces that look like the set of a post-apocalyptic movie. Beautiful, centuries-old stone villages, completely abandoned. Schools with no children. Squares with no footsteps. The high-speed trains zip right through them, connecting the wealthy hubs of Madrid and Barcelona, while the heart of the country is literally bleeding out. People are fleeing the countryside because there is simply no way to survive there anymore. And this leads us to the most tragic paradox of all. Spain has the smartest infrastructure, but it's failing its smartest people. Imagine you're a 24-year-old Spaniard. You've worked your tail off. You have a master's degree in aerospace engineering. You speak 3 languages. But when you look for a job, the only thing available is a 6-month contract waiting tables at a tourist trap in Mallorca. Youth unemployment in Spain isn't just a stat, it's a crisis. It sits around 30%. That's nearly 1 in 3 young people without a career path. You'll meet bartenders with PhDs. You'll meet Uber drivers who designed the very digital twins we just talked about. They are overeducated, overqualified, and completely stuck. It's the ultimate irony of 2026. Spain can build a train that travels half the speed of sound. They can build a ship that thinks for itself, but they can't seem to build a future where their own children can afford a home. They build the smartest ships in the world, but can they keep the smartest brains from leaving for London, Berlin, or New York? If you think the empty Spain is scary, wait until you see what they're doing to stay fed. Because in the middle of a drying desert, they've built a sea that you can see from the moon. If you were an astronaut looking down at Earth tonight, you'd see something strange over southern Spain. A massive, brilliant white patch, reflecting the sun so brightly, it looks like a glacier in the middle of a desert. But it's not ice, it's plastic. Welcome to Almeria. 40,000 hectares of greenhouses, roughly the size of 75,000 football fields, wrapped in white polyethylene. We call it the Sea of Plastic. To an American eye, it looks like a dystopian colony from a sci-fi movie. But here is the shocker. If you've eaten a tomato, a cucumber, or a bell pepper in London, Paris, or Berlin this winter, it almost certainly came from right here. In one of the driest places in Europe, Spain has performed an agricultural miracle. Using NASA-level hydroponics and recycled water, they've turned a sun-scorched wasteland into the Garden of Europe. They didn't just adapt to the desert, they conquered it. And they're doing it with a power source that makes our coal-heavy states look like they're stuck in the 19th century. Spain has become Europe's green battery. In 2026, over 56% of their entire national grid is powered by wind and solar. Imagine driving through the plains of Castilla, where Don Quixote once fought windmills. Today, those giants are real, massive, state-of-the-art turbines that stretch as far as the eye can see. They aren't just trying to be green, they are leading the world. While we in the US argue over the Green New Deal, Spain is already living it. They've proven that you can be a modern industrial power without choking on your own smog. It's efficient, it's clean, and it's making them incredibly wealthy. But nature always sends a bill. And in Spain, that bill is arriving in the form of a blood-red sky. Have you ever heard of the Calima? Every so often, a massive wall of dust rises from the Sahara Desert in Africa, crosses the Mediterranean, and swallows Spain whole. I'm not talking about a little dust on your windshield. I'm talking about the sky over Madrid turning a terrifying, apocalyptic orange. It looks like a scene from The Martian. And here is the dark truth. Spain is literally turning into Africa. Desertification is devouring the land. Those miracle greenhouses in Almeria, they are sucking the underground aquifers dry. The soil is becoming so salty and parched that it's cracking open like a broken mirror. Experts warn that nearly 75% of Spain is at risk of becoming a permanent desert within our lifetime. The very technology that feeds Europe is killing the Spanish soil. This is the Green Sahara paradox. They are the world leaders in renewable energy, yet they are losing the battle against the sun. They've built a billion-dollar garden on a foundation of disappearing water. For an American listener, it's a cautionary tale. We look at California's Central Valley and see the same struggle. But in Spain, the stakes are higher. They are on the front lines of a changing planet, fighting with one hand using the world's best tech and being dragged down with the other by a climate that doesn't care about their GDP. They are fighting for their land. But while they look at the sky for rain, they should be looking at their coastlines, because the water they do have is being used as a weapon in a different kind of war. Americans like to think we own the backyard. We've spent a century exerting influence over Latin America, politically, militarily, and economically. But while we were looking at the maps, Spain was looking at the ledgers. If you travel through Mexico City, Bogota, or Santiago today, you'll see the same logos on every street corner: Santander and BBVA. These aren't just banks, they are the shadow empire. After losing their colonies centuries ago, Spain staged a 21st century reconquista through bank accounts. They are the financial heart of the Spanish-speaking world. When a farmer in Brazil takes out a loan, or a tech startup in Chile clears a transaction, a percentage of that profit flows right back to Madrid. While Wall Street was distracted, the Spanish built a financial fortress that is, quite frankly, more stable and more integrated into the Southern Hemisphere than anything we've managed to build from New York. But they didn't stop at your wallet. They went for your heart, too. Close your eyes and listen to the sound of 80,000 people screaming in unison. You're at the new Santiago Bernabéu Stadium in Madrid. But don't call it a soccer field. To the Spanish, this is an industrial asset worth over $1 billion. It's a literal transformer. Within hours, the entire grass pitch can disappear, retracting into a 100-foot deep underground hypogeum, where it's pampered with UV lights and moisture control. What's left? A concrete floor ready for an NFL game, a Taylor Swift concert, or a massive tech convention. It is a crown jewel of engineering, that makes our newest NFL stadiums look like high school bleachers. This is soft power as a heavy industry. Real Madrid isn't just a team, it's a global brand that exports the Spanish dream to every corner of the planet. But every empire has a drain, and Spain's is located just 9 miles from the coast of Africa. Welcome to the Strait of Gibraltar. By day, it's a beautiful tourist vista. By night, it is the most dangerous gateway in Europe. While the elite are sipping champagne in the VIP boxes of the Bernabeu, just a few hundred miles south, a different kind of high-speed tech is in play. These are the Narco lanchas, giant blacked-out speedboats with 4 300-horsepower engines. They carry tons of Moroccan hashish and South American cocaine. The town of La Línea is the front line. Here, the narco culture has taken root. It's like a mini version of our border with Mexico, but on water. The traffickers are bold. They've been known to ram police boats and even storm hospitals to rescue their arrested comrades. Spain is the funnel of Europe. It's the first stop for almost everything illegal entering the continent. They export the world's finest banking and football, but they also host the world's most ruthless cartels. This is the shadow empire of 2026. A country that can build a billion-dollar transformer stadium to entertain the world, but can't seem to stop a $50,000 rubber boat from landing on its beaches. It's a world of extreme contrasts. The suit and tie boardrooms of Santander versus the hooded smugglers of Andalusia. The soft power of a goal scored in Madrid versus the hard power of a drug bust in the Strait. For an American, it's a mirror. We know what it's like to be a superpower with a porous border. But Spain is doing it with a twist. They are betting that as long as the money keeps flowing and the stadium stays full, they can live with the chaos at the gates. But the chaos at the gates isn't just about drugs. It's about people. And Spain is about to make a gamble on immigration that would leave a U.S. politician speechless. In the United States, our political identity is often defined by a wall. We argue about borders, work permits, and building the wall every single election cycle. It is the single most divisive issue in the country. But while we are debating fences, Spain is doing something that would make a DC politician's head explode. In a bold, pragmatic, and some say reckless move, the Spanish government just began the process of legalizing 500,000 undocumented migrants. Why? Because Spain has a demographic time bomb. Their birth rate is one of the lowest in the world. Their population is aging faster than a sun-dried tomato. They realize that without a massive influx of young, motivated workers, their entire Immortal Paradox, the social safety net, the high-speed trains, the free healthcare, will simply collapse. They aren't looking at migrants as a threat to their culture. They are looking at them as the fuel for their future. It is a cold, calculated gamble. Bring them in, give them papers, and put them to work. But here is where the story takes a bizarre, almost violent turn. While Spain is opening its arms to 500,000 migrants, it is literally spraying water at its tourists. Imagine you're on a dream vacation in Barcelona. You've saved for 2 years. You're sitting at a beautiful outdoor cafe, sipping a $15 gin and tonic, contributing your hard-earned American dollars to the local economy. Suddenly, a group of locals marches past, shouting in your face, and they pull out water guns. They drench your clothes. They spray your dinner. They tell you that you are the problem.
Leave it be.
This isn't a joke. It's a growing movement across Spain. From the Canary Islands to Malaga, the message is the same. Tourists go home. For an American, this is a total brain melt. We are used to businesses rolling out the red carpet for tourists. We think our money makes us welcome. But in Spain, the locals have reached a breaking point. Why the hate? It's the housing crisis. Because of Airbnb and digital nomads, many of them Americans, the rent in cities like Barcelona has skyrocketed. Local teachers, nurses, and shopkeepers can no longer afford to live in their own neighborhoods. They feel like their cities have been turned into theme parks for the wealthy. To them, your dream vacation is their daily nightmare. And this creates the ultimate Spanish paradox of 2026. They are legalizing 500,000 migrants to help build their country, but they are trying to kick out the millions of tourists who pay the bills. They want new neighbors, but they are done with temporary guests. It is a social experiment on a grand scale. A country that is choosing to remake its population while rejecting its primary source of income. It's a bold gamble that could either lead to a revitalized, multicultural Spain or a total social collapse. So, before you book that flight to Mallorca, you have to ask, are you an investor in their future or just another virus to be sprayed away? We've seen the trains, the banks, the drugs, and the water guns. Now, it's time to decide. Is Spain a dying empire, or is it a blueprint for how the rest of us will eventually have to live? So, what is Spain? Is it the daring rebel that shut its doors to the world's most powerful military in 2026? Or is it the desperate nation spraying water at the very tourists who keep its lights on? Is it a high-tech superpower with digital twin warships and trains that outrun the wind? Or is it a ghost land where PhDs serve coffee in abandoned stone villages? The truth is, Spain is all of it. It's a country of impossible extremes. We've seen the Immortal Paradox, where you can live until you're 90, but lose your home to a squatter in 48 hours. We've seen the Green Battery of Europe, fighting a losing war against the dust of the Sahara. We've seen a shadow empire built on Latin American gold and Gibraltar's Narco boats. Spain is not a finished product. It is a loud, messy, and beautiful social experiment. It's a nation that has looked at the efficiency of the modern world and decided that if efficiency means losing your soul, then it's not worth the price. For us, back in the States, Spain is a mirror. It shows us what happens when a country stops trying to be a global superpower and starts trying to be a human superpower. Yes, we are richer than they are. Our GDP is higher. Our military is bigger. But are we living more?
What a beautiful evening to be
In
out.
Spain, the right to exist is more important than the right to hustle. They've traded the security of property rights for the security of a long life. They've traded the stability of a wall for the gamble of a new population. They are making mistakes, colossal, shocking, and sometimes terrifying mistakes. But at least they are moving. So here is the question you have to answer. Would you rather have the boring, predictable stability of the American grind? Or would you risk it all for this brilliant, high-speed, sun-drenched chaos? The choice is yours. But remember, in Spain, the dinner starts at midnight. Don't be late.